Happy New Year's, YouTube. I hope that you guys all celebrated your season with all of the people you love and did some amazing and fun and exciting things. I hope that you got a chance to not only spend time with the people that you love, obviously, but give back a little bit to the community, rest up a little bit, and be ready for a brand new year, prosperous time, and hopefully just all the changes that you're looking to kind of see in your life. So, if you're brand new and have never visited me before, welcome to the channel, first of all. You'll kind of find a couple of videos on here just looking over some setups using a particular system. We do a lot of other things. We don't publicize it mostly on YouTube, but we're going to get better at it slowly. I'm really good with people. I'm good at trading, not so great at YouTube, so please bear with me a little bit. I know I talk fast. For those of you guys who are returning, obviously welcome and thank you so much for all of you guys who stick with me, who stay the course, and who are still looking to kind of grow and to learn. So obviously we have to start off with our disclaimer that says everything we discuss on these are recorded. They're not to be considered financial, legal, or investing advice. And last but not least, of course, I practice high risk, high reward trading. You can follow similar steps with safer, lower risk, lower reward trading styles. So with that said, I'm going to kind of leave this up. Actually, I'm going to go here because I absolutely love this and leave this on my screen for a second while I kind of start to talk to you about some of the results we've had in the last year or so trading the Simplicity system. So as of June, I started doing these calls about once every 2 weeks or so, give or take. Had a few times where it was like every other week, so every other Tuesday and or the first and third Tuesday of the month. Sometimes they were live in class format, and sometimes we were just looking for some setups and posting a quick video. In that time, I'm not sure exactly, I need to get the numbers all together to find out what particularly we've accomplished in terms of accuracy ratios, because I don't keep as tight track as this as I do kind of the morning stuff, because that's a little bit more attention to detail. What I can say is in those 6 months, trading about 20 minutes, right, a couple times a week, literally, we were able to accomplish over 15,000 pips with and that's after losses, right? So that's our gain after losses with a very few minutes of chart time. Don't have to know exactly every single thing on the chart. You don't need to understand all of the price action and all the stuff that goes into it. No, this is not perfect. Yes, you can make $1 million. Yes, you can lose $1 million pretty quickly. That's part of trading. But the whole concept here is being able to get this skill set that you can hopefully find that financial freedom, retire your job, and just be able wherever you want in the world, right? That's kind of what we're doing and what we're teaching. So we did have some trades on December 14th. That video is live on YouTube. It's on the channel. It's in the playlist, I'm pretty sure. In that call, I think we had a total of 7 entries. 2 of them did not end up entering. 4 of them won, 2 of them pretty big, and then 1 of them lost. So biggest winners for that week was GJ and GU. I'm not going to go over all those. I'm just going to look for some new setups now. But on that call, so in the last couple of weeks, those moved over 1,200 pips. So that's 1,237 pips, basically. That's insane, right? Depending on your lot size, that could be worth $1,000 in 2 weeks pretty passively. That could also be worth $12,000 or $120,000, depending on your lot size. What's possible with this market is as your skill set increases and your capital increases, you can do extraordinary things. So without further ado, we're going to go take a look at the charts. We have a couple of potential setups now, and I'll tell you what I'm thinking about this first week of the year, and then we will go from there. So again, guys, I'm not going to go over the 7 trades we looked at on December 14th. You're more than welcome to review those, look at the price points and the timestamp, and then go back to your own charts and say, holy cow, wait a minute, if I had followed the rules that she has given, I would have gotten at least half of those pips, at least 75% of those pips. Or hey, if I had my stop loss there or just took 20 pips off each one, I'd have this accuracy ratio, and this is kind of what I'd be able to accomplish. So for today, before we look at these couple of setups, I want to say first week of the year, there's some choppy volume. There's been some massive moves on some of the JPY pairs particularly. We might want to either A, play it safer, right? So go for a lower risk per trade, go for your 1% versus your 3%, depending on what kind of trader you are. If you're one of those all-in traders, kind of grow it or blow it mentality, that's fine, but this might not be the week to do it. This might be the week to say, hey, a lot of the money is still out in the market. We're waiting a few more weeks for the volume. So I'm going to hold up and I'm going to kind of chill out a little bit and just watch the price action happen rather than chase it. So that's my disclaimer, just to kind of play it a little bit safe, probably for the next 2 weeks or so. As for me and mine, I'm mostly going to be scalping. I'm going to be going for shorter moves, holding less, scaling out of more faster of any trades that I do take. So you guys know the rules. When we find these setups using the Simplicity system or my 1 hour fractal strategy, which we teach in my morning classes with any of the companies that I work with, we know that's very simple. As soon as you get the confirmation from that strategy, whatever strategies you're using, and you get a break of the fractal in that direction, you're going to be entering that trade or having a pending order there. You know that we're going to be going for approximately 1 ATR, 1 ADR, depending on what time frame you're on. Right? If I'm on the 1 hour, going for 1 to 2 ATR, very, very easy target. If I'm on 1 hour to 4 hour, 1 ADR, very, very easy target. Not too hard to hit, high probability trades. You should be scaling out anything above 50 pips. You should definitely be protecting your trade, scaling out of some of your position, putting a trailing stop on there, dragging and dropping your stop loss into profit, or just simply closing it. There's no reason to try to go for all 9,000 pips on a move when you can get a very safe, happy 50 pips and be profitable and peaceful and done for the day. So keep that in mind. Remember, it's the same skill set that makes you $5 that makes you $50,000. It's the same skill set. So what you're really practicing is not how to get the whole 600 pips. What you're practicing is how to get the consistent 6 pips or 60 pips. That's what's going to make you the most profitable in the long run. So starting with the top of my list, remember, this is kind of a choppy week. It's going to be. I'm going to start with GJ mostly because, well, it's a highly talked about pair right now. I'm going to pop up a time frame. This is a ginormous move. We have yet to see our full 20% retracement on any of this. Sorry for the moving it around. We've pushed over 800 pips all the way up. We're kind of sitting toward the top. We have yet to see our retracement at all on this pair. So with that said, as you can see, we don't have a reversal signal just yet. Simplicity has not given us a reason to buy. But for me and mine, we've got this another impulse. When we break this fractal area, I'm going to be looking for at least 1 to 2 ATR and or half of the ADR. I know I'm going to be protecting. Overall, on this trade particularly, I'm looking to come all the way down about 400 pips. Now, it doesn't mean we might not push up a few more levels. We could definitely edge up a little bit more. Everybody on the planet, it feels like, is looking to sell this pair. And if everybody's trying to sell it, it's a really good time for the market makers and everybody else to, play around and to push this in different directions. So this has moved without, it's just kept going and going and going. This is definitely on my watch list for right now. I'm not going to take it until I've been given a reason or I break a fractal. So sitting pretty flat right now. Nice little impulse. We've retested 50% of that candle. And again, we're flat. So we might break down, push up to spring out everybody out, and then drop. So treat this very carefully. You're more than welcome to wait for the impulse and the correction before you take the continuation. Totally up to you on what kind of trader you want to be, but keep your eye out for this pair. Next, we've got Euro USD, so I don't say that wrong. I'm going to go up some time frames for this pair. We have bought this a couple of times, and we were really lucky. I'm going to say luck instead of skillful because we got some of these moves, right? We just had great entries on smaller time frames, still waiting for this to take off. Going up one more time frame, nice impulse, little flag correction, like this little flag. We definitely can get another continuation of the downside. But what I'm looking for is at least a short-term reversal all the way up about 300 pips in total. So how I'm looking for that, since again, we don't have a current signal, this is Euro USD, 1 hour time frame. We don't even have the buy signal on Simplicity. I'm looking for the break of this fractal. If I get the break of this zone, I know that even from here, I've got enough room to protect my trade. That's all I need is enough room to protect my trade. And of course, I'm going for a much larger target than this, but still I know within 30 to 60 pips, I have time and hours to protect that trade, scale out of that trade, and make some actionable decisions. So this is also on my watch list for this week. GU, pretty comparable to GJ. We did actually have a sell signal kind of sitting in around here, but of course we did not get the continuation. So now of course we pushed up one more level, starting to come back down. If we break this second fractal more so than here, I'm looking for the break and down about, let's find out together, about 209 pips or so to the top of this Fibonacci zone. I'd be really happy with that. Remember, I'm going to be protecting my trade within about 40 to 50 pips. I'll have that protected no matter what. So how you do that is totally up to you. I typically use a trade manager. It's a really fancy tool. There's no other one on the market. The one I use is from cooltradingtools.com. It is completely genius in how it's written. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out. But it'll kind of babysit the trade in many ways, not just trailing stocks and take profits and stop losses, but actual technical information for how it manages the trade. So either way, I'm protected about 40 or so pips, 50, anywhere in this area. I've gotten my bag and I know I can walk away or of course capitalize on another 200 pips or so. Next on my watch list is UCAD. If I zoom out, make this a little uglier, we can again see nice impulse, huge correction. So impulse, correction, we're looking for this to continue. Do I think this is going to come all the way back up? I don't. And if we go up some major time frames, you can kind of see what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the completion of this Elliott wave pattern that we've got forming. So from where price is currently at, really a decent amount of pips that are potentially on the table. We don't have any major confirmations just yet. This is the first Tuesday of the year. We definitely don't have the perfect setups we're looking for. So notice how I'm saying this is on my watch list, meaning we don't even have a simplicity signal. If we break this fractal and or get our signal and break the fractal, then I'm in this trade, I'm going to take it, I'm really happy about it. Of course, my target, I'm going to be pretty protected after 2 ATR on this pair is approximately 40 pips, 40, 50 pips. I'm definitely protected in that trade. Great, easy to follow setup right there. CAD JPY is next. JPY pairs, all of them pushed up so aggressively. We know how JPY pairs do what they do. Needless to say, we have some divergence depending on what systems you're using. We don't have the confirmation just yet, so we can only go with what the charts are telling us. But for the sake of consistency, I wanted to make sure we made this call. We were present and doing what we needed to do. So at the break of this fractal, and or you can wait for your impulse correction and then take your continuation. I'm looking for my really easy to get 200 or so pips is what my target is on this. So on this chart, that's approximately in around 89.372. That's going to be my major target. I'm protecting after 40 to 50 pips or 1 ADR. I'm definitely, my profit is locked. I've got some of it off. I've got my trailing stop applied, or of course my stop loss is driving the profit. So no matter what, I've won on that trade. Last but no, actually two more. GN, same thing with the other two GBP pairs we talked about. It's not ready, but I couldn't ethically or morally or whatever word you want to use, leave it off the table because I've been tracking this pair for quite some time. We have edged up exponentially. I'm again looking for that 150 to 200 pips on this pair. On this one, I'm going to be definitely protecting my bag within 30 to 60 pips. So half of the ADR or approximately 2 ATR. I know that I can get my 50 pips pretty safely. To give you an idea of where that is, that's very, very easy to do. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this pair because it's a little messy, all those wiki-wiki-ness. The most recent fractal is here. We actually just broke that. So now we're kind of bouncing off the 50. How I would play this is I would go to a smaller time frame and look for a better entry. So I'd look for a continuation based off of a smaller time frame personally on this pair. So actually I'm going to write that down so I know what I said. Smaller time frame instead of breakup fractals. So that's how I would be trading this one, is because we're already at the 50, I don't want to just take it willy-nilly. I still want the confirmation, and right now I don't want to accidentally take this bounce, and of course it rejects one more level, or possibly makes it head and shoulders. I want the best entry possible, so in this pair, it's definitely worth me going to a smaller time frame to get that entry. Last but not least, last week we looked at silver, gold, euro, USD, GU. We won a boatload of trades, which is awesome, but silver is actually one of them. So I'm going to scoot up some time frames. We've got a lot of nice formations on most time frames on silver. So I'm going to zoom out. Look at this big, beautiful W that's forming. For me, from where price is currently at, I'm looking for a really easy 260 pips. And remember, this pair is technically worth 5 times the pip value of, say, gold or GU, for example. So this is worth an awful lot. that also means it's potentially very dangerous. So make sure you're trading this accordingly. Your target is going to be much smaller pip-wise, but it's worth a whole bunch. So this morning when I looked at it in class, I said, no, I'm not going to take another entry just yet. I wanted to pull back first. We kind of have one, and we wicked off the bottom a little bit, but still on this one, again, same concept. Go to a smaller time frame. Find that perfect entry on that 5, 15, or 30, and then just let this ride up. So my goal this time, I've already bought it a couple of times, but this time I'd like to hold it and see what I can get out of it. Obviously, this takes a long time for this to play out. This is not going to be a trade that we get done in a week or so. This is June 16th to October 4th, so this is quite a few months in between. To give you an idea, you can expect to see more of the same over here. You're looking at a couple of months potentially in terms of holding this trade. Not a bad way to be, though, if you have like that savings account, trading account is what we used to call it, your savings trading account, where you have a certain amount of dollars in there, and you say, hey, I'm going to track this trade, I'm going to let it flow, I'm going to scale into it, and I'm going to let it keep growing. So that's how I would play this one. Make sure I'm going to write down long term and smaller time frame. So that's where you're going to find your entry. Great potential setup. This at 5 times the value is worth about 2,000 pips at 5 times the value for 400. So that's where I get that number from right there. Again, great possible trades coming up. So I implore you, please go take a look at these trades. Go mark them up on your charts. See if you see what I see. Again, we're not going to take them willy-nilly. And come back in 2 weeks and say, hey, did this play out? Did it work? Do I see what she saw? Did it play out in a way that I could have been potentially profitable? And then hopefully I hope to see you back here in a couple of weeks, and then we'll go from there. So in the next month or so, I'm going to be asking Super EZ as well as YouTube, okay, what's the topic for tonight? We'll look at about 20 minutes worth of trades, and we'll pick some kind of topic where hopefully we can just go live with and answer any questions, etc. so forth. So if you have those kinds of questions, please put them in the chat. I've got somebody who will monitor them and write them down a little bit better than I have in the past, because I can't possibly keep up with everyone. So if you have something you definitely need and want to discuss, put it there. Otherwise, I hope you guys all have an amazing and happy evening. Take care. Happy New Year one more time, and God bless.